the first Westerner who went to the North Korean Gulag was a Venezuelan communist called Ali Lameda. He was caught in '67, spent 7 years in the Gulag, and he wrote this poem which goes, "I suffer moons, hungers, cruel Christ of pus. I give in bone this explanation for my misfortune." He did a report for Amnesty in 1979 after he'd finally got out, and that was the first Western report on the Gulag. Since then there's been 3 amazing books, and there are 25,000 defectors now spread around the world, most of them in South Korea. These defectors, some of whom have been in the Gulag, and there is a constant drizzle of these stories. Now the regime denies it. What Gulag?
Well, let's have a look at some of these pictures that Amnesty International have, these satellite images that we've seen. So I think this is Camp 15, and this was an earlier photo of the camp where you can see a lot of logging activity presumably taking place, which all the prison workers are presumably involved in. And then we can go on to the next one where the activity has been expanded. And let me just show you the next, we'll just run the next 2, which is, this is Camp 16, and these aren't our kind of notations on the pictures, these are what we've been given. And then if we go to, if you look at just housing structures, you can see that there are a lot more housing being built. What's your interpretation?
Well, it's very difficult. I mean, I went on a holiday to North Korea, and we went on a very, very, very tightly guarded trip up and down the Pyongyang corridor. We saw some things which made us realise that this is a regime that tells lies about ordinary things. We never got near here. Nobody ever has from outside. But if you look at it, you can see more building activity. Now what happens is that people like Amnesty, and I know the guy who's done this report, they sit down with defectors and they say, was that there when you were there? And the defectors say, no, I've done the same thing. The guy who was on our clip had been there quite a long time ago, but there's a constant drizzle of defectors. Many of them are, of course, afraid to go on camera. So the reason why I'm here is because the defector has still got family inside North Korea and can't say what's happening.
Well, fascinating stuff, and I'm sure these will be much argued about, and I'm sure equally strenuous denials from the North Koreans as well, that this proves nothing.
It proves a lot. It proves that there is a Gulag. There are more than enough witnesses out there who say there is a Gulag. There is a history of, there's a bank of information. There is a Gulag, no question in my mind.